Hello there! Today I'm going to show you a really simple and fun hairstyle that I did over Thanksgiving break. This is something that doesn't require any special braiding skills, so if you don't know how to braid, this is probably the perfect hairstyle for you. My color and my highlights are fading out. The back of my hair is not looking great, but for something like this, you don't need anything special. We're going to start with some Kanekalon hair, a rat tail comb, some sticks, and a ribbon that I had intended on using as accessories, but I changed my mind. As you can see, the Kanekalon hair that I have doesn't really match my highlights, but that's not going to be a problem. You will find out later on. The first thing you're going to do is to want to get a really nice middle part like so. You may want to use the center of your nose as a guide for something like this, and that's what I tried to do here. Some people start from their toes, which is extreme, but hey, I love the drama of it all. Alright, so I tried to get a good center part right from the front of my hairline all the way to the back as I'm showing here. I don't think I did a great job in the back, but nobody's going to see that. Well, people might, but it's fine. And then clip one half of the hair away like so. And then now we're going to start working on the other half. You need some water to just get the hair all together. This stage of my hair was after I did a twist out, so this had been like a week after the twist out, so this is pretty old hair. It's not freshly washed, but I think you can still do this hairstyle on a freshly washed hair. I applied a layer of gel. The Cantu gel is what I typically use, and it retails for like $4.95, which is good. And to prevent a white cast, I put a layer of oil on it. I used the Miracle brand of hair oil. And to braid, like I said, you don't really need special braiding skills for this step, so I just wrapped a chunk of a thick chunk of the Kanekalon hair, and then once I wrapped it at the base, I just started to braid it down. I am not the best braider, so we're just gonna wing this step, and then you just braid it all the way down like so. I also think this is a hairstyle that you can do if you have like little girls. I feel like sometimes little girls don't want to sit down and do so much with your hair. So for the moms out there who sometimes need a break from like the individual braids, I feel like this is one of those hairstyles that would come in handy for maybe like a week or two of school. So yeah, let me know if you try it on your little girls. And it's not too much tension on your scalp or your hairline, so I also think that's another reason I would definitely say it works for little girls, like I said, who sometimes just don't want to sit in the salon for that long. And then once again, we're repeating everything on the other side. I used a thread to just tie everything together, and then I go in with the extensions, braid it all the way down like so. And at this stage, I noticed that my hair wasn't like really blended with the extensions, but it's fine because the next thing I did was just coil the hair around each other, and my real hair started to stick out, which was a bummer, but hey, it's fine. We're gonna just make sure everything comes together. I promise. You're just gonna keep like pinning everything down, but then we're gonna do an extra step towards the end, and you will not even see the real hair that's showing basically. So repeat the process for the other side. Wrap the big braid around itself all the way to the bottom. The goal was to get something that was more flat, so if you start wrapping and it starts to look a bit more rounded, you may want to try it again. I just like that look better. If you like it for it to look a bit more globular, if you would, I feel like that might work too. Now this is where the fun begins, the accessorizing of it all. I wanted to create some curls around the two big braids on the opposite side of the head, so I decided to just use some tiny strands of the Kanekalon hair and just spin it. I didn't want to like sew anything in. Like I said, this is really low tension, low manipulation hairstyle, so just use some hairpins and just stick those tiny pieces of hair in, and you're good to go. I did this about 3 or 4 more times just to create more curls, and then we're gonna dip this in some heat. But first, we're going to put them in rollers. Small rollers, big rollers, anything you want, but I really wanted like teeny tiny curls that really kind of like work with the look. But this is really where you have fun and you kind of, you know, do whatever you want. So for this step, I stuck some of it at the top and then some of the hair at the bottom, and at some point it started to like come outside, but you know, just stick it back in. That's it. I don't want to sew anything, so now we're gonna wrap everything back in the rollers like so and just clip it. Ding, 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 ding. There you go. Repeat as many times as you want. Like I said, this is where you have fun with the entire process. Next, you're going to boil some hot water. Well, I put my hair in a scarf because everything has to dry, but I boiled some hot water. Just protect your edges, please. Don't burn your scalp, don't burn your hair. You need a towel, and then once you dip it in and it comes out, you repeat it for the other side really quick. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now you're going to get the Kanekalona hair out of the rollers like so. It started to tangle a little bit. I'm not sure why that happened, but maybe I should have put some, no, mousse. I don't think that would have prevented it, but I eventually was able to get it out of the teeny tiny rollers, and then I cut the tip just to make sure that it doesn't tangle too much. And then now you can pretty much style it any way you want, but the way I did it was to just pin it a bit more and then put some of the curls in front and then put some in the back like so. I really like that look better instead of letting them be that much long. So I would just kind of like shorten it by pulling it up, wrapping it around, which is also where you notice you start to conceal the fact that you didn't like do a perfect braid. So pretty much have at it at this point, just so your braiding skills, if you're a good braider, yay, but if you are middle like me, or even like low level of braiding, this is like, you know, you can get away with this. I started to trim off some of the Kanekalona hair as well, and then I tugged some of the hair at the top in to my desired length, and I really like how this turned out. Like I said, even though the braiding hair was not exactly matching my highlights, I think it blended in really, really well. And I really, really like how this turned out. This was for Thanksgiving dinner, and it was such a cute, simple 10-minute, 15-minute hairstyle, and I really like how it's turned out. Okay, enjoy the rest of your winter. Thank you for watching. Bye.